talk a lot about climate, and you touched on diversity of America also. When people talk about climate, they think maybe the coasts are out west with forest fires, but here on the river, we have our own problems. I guess, how do you plan to invest equitably in such a diverse landscape across the country? I mean, do you have plans for infrastructure to that level yet?
We really do. I mean, if you look at our climate plan, a lot of it is going to be about changing rules for American business to generate energy, how we're going to generate energy in a clean fashion, what kind of cars we're going to build, what kind of buildings we're going to have, and we're going to have to rebuild for energy efficiency. But there's also, we need to rebuild this country. I think everybody in America knows the infrastructure is crumbling. Everybody knows we're short of affordable housing, and we're going to have to build climate-smart infrastructure and climate-smart housing. We're going to have to rebuild this country. And frankly, the fact that we haven't done it for so long means we're going to get a chance to do it in a smart way. And have we gotten to the level of seeing it? Yes. This is going to be it's going to be a gigantic jobs program for America. We're going to have to do it, and we're going to have to start on day one. That's why I said I'd declare a state of emergency on day one. And we'll do it from an environmental justice standpoint, making sure we clean up the air and water in the places where people are being poisoned.
So 538 reported early this month that you had spent more on advertising than all the other candidates combined, apart from Mike Bloomberg, and run more ads in, I think, Nevada and South Carolina than all the other candidates combined. Are you trying to buy the election?
Look, the only thing that works in this election for me or anybody else is a message that resonates. And you can't buy an election. The question is, do Americans hear you say something that's differential, important, and do they trust you? And if you look at my history, I have gone after the biggest problems in America, and I've put in my blood, sweat, tears, and money to try and work on them, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So there's no way that anybody, including Mike Bloomberg, can buy an election. The only thing you can do is see if Americans respond to what you have to say and who you are and what you've done in the past. And you can look at my history and see I've had over a decade of fighting as an outsider and beating these corporations, and Americans can see that too.
Why do you think you've had to spend all that money and run so many advertisements then, rather than perhaps a more organic campaign like some of the other candidates might have done?
Well, actually, if you look and see, if you look at South Carolina that you're talking about, we have the most organic campaign. We have the most people working on the ground. I've been there the most. In fact, of going to look at people, answer their questions, that's actually what I've done. If you look at Nevada, the same thing is true. If you look at my history, actually I started one of the biggest grassroots organizations in the United States, Next Gen America. So in fact, what we've done is to try and get me in front of as many people, to try and have as many people out knocking on doors, talking to people and calling them up on the phone. So actually we are grassroots people. That's what we're going to do in the fall. That's what I've done in the past, and that's actually what I'm doing now.
Thanks. Tom, sorry, Dave Smith and Liz Bradshaw from the UK. As you were speaking this evening, Britain left the European Union. Have you got anything to say about Brexit in the context of what you were saying earlier in Clinton, Ohio, about nationalism and the rise of that?
Clearly, when I think about Brexit, I think about it as being consistent with Mr. Trump's attitude about every country for itself. And that the idea of coalition and alliances isn't worth it, that we're going to actually withdraw to our corners and compete. And in fact, I think it will turn out to be a big mistake for the United Kingdom. I feel bad about it. I think that it reflects the kind of nationalism that we're seeing around the world that Mr. Trump exemplifies, but that we're seeing in virtually every continent. And so I'm hoping that with the election starting in the United States in November of 2020, we shift that and we go back to the idea that this world is actually one world, that we're going to do better by cooperating than confronting and escalating confrontations with each other. And we're going to go back to actually, improving the world for everybody.
One more question from our local press.
Great. Say Monday goes well for you. Say the other early states go well as well. What's your plan moving forward? Will this be the last we see of you here in Iowa, or how?
Well, one of the things. Let me say this. So tonight, Chuck Eisenhart came out saying that he was going to caucus for me, which was fantastic. I've been coming to Iowa to visit my uncle and aunt since I was 2 years old. We've been organizing in Iowa this will be our, I think, 8th year. So is the idea that I'm going to stop coming to Iowa after the caucus? No. I'm going to keep coming to see my family, and we're going to be organizing on the ground in Iowa between now and November 2020 under all circumstances. So the idea that after Monday you won't see me in Iowa anymore can't be true. Next Gen is on 41 campuses in the state of Iowa. This is a state that we've cared about for years, that I've come to for decades to see my family, and I've worked in for a long time. So yeah, we're going to keep coming, and the fact that there were people here tonight, and the fact that one of the leaders of this community, Chuck Eisenhart, is going to be in my corner, I think reflects something about how I feel about Iowa and how I'm going to feel.